Hello everyone! Yes, I'm back with yet another tutorial video, even after I just recently shared the last one. Aren't you guys lucky? Anyway, this particular topic wasn't necessarily in high demand or anything, but I've had a few people occasionally ask me if I can edit a song to be a different beat for them, which I've proven I can do so, since I've done that for some mashups in some rare cases. But while I don't mind helping some people with that, I do think it's best that I show off just how it's done, because when it really comes down to it, it's actually not that difficult for someone to do it themselves. So, I'm sorry, but once this video is posted, I'm no longer going to be helping people out with this. Again, it's pretty easy. But first things first, for those who wish to be able to change the beat of a song, the only real warning I have in advance is that while it's a very simple process, it's also very tedious. So just keep that in mind. Now, once again, I'm going to be using the Evil Twins theme as my guinea pig, because why not? We're going to be changing the Evil Twins theme from 4-beat to 3-beat. So, your very first step here is that you're going to want to know the BPM to your song. This right here is a necessity. Without your BPM, this process is not going to work. So, we already established in the last video that the Evil Twins is 87 BPM, or 174, so we're good. So if you watched my last tutorial video, I have some good news. It follows a lot of the same methods we use to make a mashup. So we're going to want to find our starting point to this track, which the Evil Twins is kind of finicky, but I usually go for around this area or so. And then we're going to want to click off the track, and we're going to have our trusty little rhythm track, 174. But despite this being a 4-beat song, we're actually going to go with 3. Since we want this to be a 3-beat song. So we have a rhythm track there, and we want to have it so it starts at the same time as our track up here. So I'll have this entire track selected, and then once again we're going to hit Ctrl-Alt+J to detach at silences, and once again, if that doesn't work for you, you just go to Edit, Audio Clips, and then Detach at Silences. But unlike last time, we're not going to silence this track because it can be really helpful to listen for the beat you're going for, especially if you lose track of where you're editing. So in this case, this is the beat we're going for. Sometimes it helps to increase the audio of this beat track so you can hear it over your normal track. I usually go in between 10 to 15, not too loud to where it like blows out the speakers or anything. And sometimes if you need to turn down the volume for your track to be able to hear the beat better, that works too. I just recommend putting it back to normal once you're done with this track, because if you export it with the volume still low, then when you listen back to it, that track's always going to be quiet, and that can be kind of annoying. So from here, the process is very simple, but once again, I just want to stress that it's very tedious. So tedious, in fact, that I'm not going to show off the full process in this video, but thankfully, despite it being tedious, it's also a very simple and repetitive process. So once you know what you're doing, it's really smooth sailing from there. So here's how we begin our process from making the Evil Twins from a 4-beat song into a 3-beat song. You're going to want to count the beats here, 1, 2, 3, and then you select where the 4th beat would play in your song and delete it. And then you're going to want to leave a split there where you deleted it, and I'll explain why later. And basically, believe it or not, that's it. That's how this is done. You simply go 3 more beats, 1, 2, 3, select where the 4th beat would be, delete it, and then split. And the reason why this is a very tedious process, I think you can see now, is because you're literally doing this for the entire song. But on the bright side, it's very simple, like I mentioned. Just simply count 3 more beats, 1, 2, 3, highlight the 4th one, delete, split, repeat. So obviously I'm not going to show off this entire process. So instead I'm just going to skip to the end where I finish this whole process. Alright, I'm back and I've successfully made the Evil Twins from a 4-beat song to a 3-beat song. And if you zoom out, yes, these are all the edits I made. So now you see why I don't do this too often. But anyway, I'm not going to play the full song. I'll perhaps leave a link to the full thing in the description, but for now I'll let you listen to a little bit of it and then compare it to the original 4-beat version. So I think you get the general idea there. So the reason I personally think it's a good idea to make a split at every single beat change here is not only because if you haven't marked where you've been, it can be easy for you to lose your place while you're editing, but also because since we're making so many edits to one song, if you zoom in really close, like this for example, you can see that the sound waves here aren't completely connected in the right way, which can sometimes cause a little distortion in the audio for a split second, like a little ch sound. Although funny enough, after listening to this entire thing, I couldn't really think of any parts where the distortion was that noticeable. But either way, if you want to fix that issue, just zoom into your split, like here, and then highlight the overall section. You don't need to highlight a whole lot, just enough to be able to fix your audio issue. And then you're going to want to go to Effect, and then Repair. And then that should quite literally repair the little audio clip there. Now, the repair option normally doesn't have a button tied to it, but because I find it very useful and because I use it very often, I personally have it set as the K key. But that's just me. You can have it set to any key you want if you feel like you're going to use it very often. However, when using the repair effect, one thing to keep in mind is that if you're not really zoomed in enough, or if you select too much of the track and try to use it, then this will pop up. It says zoom in and select a tiny fraction of a second to repair. So basically to fix that, you have to zoom in close enough. I recommend zooming in close enough to where you can start to see little dots. And then from there, you just select a little section and then repair. But then after you repair your selection, it would be a good idea to get rid of the split, which in this case, the default option is Control+J, but I personally have it set as just J. Makes it easier for me. And the reason you're going to want to remove this is because if you're repairing multiple parts, you obviously don't want to lose your place when doing so. You want to know where you've been and what you've already repaired. So for me personally, I like to go the extra mile and repair every single beat, which, yes, it's a tedious process too, since we're going over all the beats we just got done editing. But I just always like that extra assurance that my audio is relatively clean all the way through. And for me personally, I actually go through that process quicker than editing the beats in the first place. In fact, I'll show you how quick my process usually is when doing this. Start here, select a little bit. And because I have my join key be J and my repair key be K, those keys are right next to each other, so I can just do it really quickly. Then from there, I double click the track, press the right key so it goes to the next selection, select J, K, double click, right, select J, K, and I pretty much do that for every single beat until I reach the end. So yeah, from there, it's the same tedious process of going through every single beat, but this time we're both repairing and getting rid of the splits. But if you feel like the track sounds just fine without the repairs, like you listen to it and don't hear any distortions in the audio, then honestly, you can completely ignore that process if you want. Once you're finished editing every single beat, if you feel like it's fine there, in fact, you could just select the entire track, just press Control+J or whatever, get rid of all your splits, get rid of the rhythm track, make sure it's the same volume it started out as, and then export it, and you're good to go. So overall, that entire thing was my process on how to turn a 4-beat song into a 3-beat song. But of course, if you want to do the opposite, like turn a 3-beat song into a 4-beat song, the process is very similar, just instead of cutting every 4th beat to a song, you're pasting a 4th beat. So my edit of Battle Against the True Hero from Undertale is a good example of that, since it's a 4-beat song for this entire section, but then it turns into 3-beat in this section. So in the case of my edit of this song, I made the entire thing be 4-beat to make things easier in mashups, of course. So we're going to want to zoom in, and we obviously want to have a rhythm track, because that's the whole foundation of this. And just like last time, we're going to count 1, 2, 3 beats. But instead of highlighting the 4th beat, because this is a 3-beat section, we're actually going to want to highlight the 3rd beat, copy it, press the right arrow key, and then paste it. And that's our extra beat to make it from 3-beat to 4-beat. But of course, because of potential audio distortions, you want to leave a little clip there. In this case, now we have our extra beat in a section of its own. And from there, it's pretty much the same pattern. 1, 2, 3. And don't highlight the 4th beat, we're highlighting the 3rd beat. We copy, paste, and split. And once again, it's pretty much the same process until the end of this song, since this entire section is 3 beat and we want to make it 4 beat. Now, if you really want to get creative with this, and I suppose this could maybe apply for turning 4 beat into a 3 beat song as well, but you don't necessarily have to paste the 3rd beat. Sometimes you can paste the 2nd beat or even the 1st beat if you think that sounds better for your song. And that can work just as well, just as long as you make sure to paste one single beat, since we're making this from 3 beat to 4 beat, obviously. But that's just something to keep in mind in case you want to try that out at any point. But yeah, that's basically how you would make a 3 beat song into a 4 beat song. And once again, I'll show a little example of that. So as far as other edits go, I think it's pretty straightforward from there. For example, if you want to make a 5 beat song into a 4 beat song, it's pretty much just the same process for what you did if you wanted to turn a 4 beat song into a 3 beat song, since we're removing an extra beat every time. So in this case, our 5 beat song is Coral Canyon from Crash Bandicoot Throughout the Cortex. And all we need to do here is just count our beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to select the 5th beat of our song, remove it, split, repeat. Another 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Remove the 5th, split. And that's pretty much how you would turn a 5 beat song into a 4 beat song. And in this case, if you want to make a 7 beat song into a 4 beat, or rather an 8 beat song in this case, we have Agent 9's Lab from Spyro 3 as an example. And fun fact, I think this was the very first song that I actually made an effort to change the beat throughout the entire thing, because it's a really good song, and I hate the fact that it's one of the only 7 beat songs that I know, and I really wanted to make it work well with other mashups, so I think this track is what ultimately inspired me to start changing beats of certain tracks. So in this case, the process is pretty much the same as what we did with Battle Against a True Hero, from 3 beat to 4 beat, since we're pasting an extra beat in this case. So this is a 7 beat song, so we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we're going to want to paste that 7th beat, copy it, paste it, split, and then pretty much follow the same pattern from there. Either way, that's my personal process when it comes to changing beats of songs, and I hope it can be useful in some capacity. One more thing I'd like to mention before I end off this video is when it comes to beats like swing beat songs versus normal beat songs, that's an entirely different thing. So far, I unfortunately currently do not know of any way to convert a swing beat song into a normal beat song, but I do know of this one website called The Wub Machine. And what that can do is easily convert normal beat songs into swing beat. The only problem with this site is it's not perfect. Some songs will come out sounding rather messy, but sometimes you can really hit the jackpot there and a song can actually end up sounding really cool in swing beat form. But anyway, that's the last thing I wanted to talk about there. So yeah, if you've got a lot of time on your hands, overall it can be very interesting to do these sorts of edits for songs and not only see how different they sound as a different beat, but also expand their capability in mashups, which, hey, I'll never complain about that. That being said, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover in this particular video. It's a bit of a shorter one compared to the last one, thankfully. And like I said before, this topic wasn't necessarily in high demand or anything. It's mostly something I just kind of thought of out of the blue and wanted to share, so if you found it helpful in any way, let me know. With that out of the way, I hope you all have a good day, and goodbye.